Hello, welcome back to the We Are City channel. We are in the January transfer window and we have lost some big names in the previous episode. Mainly Julian Alvarez, our only fit striker with Erling Haaland currently injured. Now, Cheeky Begaristan, our sporting director, has come to Pep Guardiola with some news. Morning, Pep. Since Julian Alvarez's departure, we've had multiple agents of over 10 strikers and forwards contact the club about interest in a move to Man City. I will list the options we have at the club and then tell you which players are the best choice to make a move for. These are the 10 players we have been offered. Paulo Dybala of AS Roma, a 30-year-old. Victor Gyökeres of Sporting, a 25-year-old. Echeverri of Crystal Palace, a 26-year-old. Rodrigo of Real Madrid, a 23-year-old. Vitor Roque of Barcelona, 19 years of age. We've got Angel Correa at Atleti, 29 years of age. Ivan Toney at Brentford, 27. Cucho Hernandez of Columbus Crew, 25. Anthony Martial, a free agent currently in this save, at 28. And then finally, Alassane Plea of Borussia Mönchengladbach, 31 years of age. All 10 of those players' agents have come to Manchester City and said, would you be interested in making a move for our client? The scouts have narrowed days down to 4 options who players could play centre forward in your side, says Cheeky Begaristan. I'll begin talks with each of the clubs and the players of the 4 to try and distinguish what should be making moves, who should be making moves for, which players are attainable, and so on. But there are a few things we have to keep in mind with the player that we eventually decide to move for. And that is, of course, our transfer rules. Now, we did say no first-team signs in January. That is going to change, obviously, in this case, because of exceptional circumstances, considering no Alvarez and no striker at all on the side. Every January transfer we have to sign one upcoming star, so that will be one of my targets. We've already signed the 3 CFG signings. Never have a net spend over 60 million, so we need to have more than 60 million come into the club this summer. We're actually about 34. I think we'll have a look at the spending graphic pretty soon. So we do need to pick up around 30 million in the transfer window. We have already done that, however, with the signing of sell of Alvarez for 82 million. It does mean we've got around 40 million to spend there on a new striker. Any sign over 28 years of age must cost less than 35 million, and any signing over 30 must be on a free transfer. As you can see, that sort of narrows down our options of players we can move for. And we mentioned the net spend, didn't we? We best have a look at the spending graphic. You can see with the sale of Alvarez, which has not been added in there, this is before the Alvarez move, 82 million gets added on, so we are definitely in a plus 60 million net spend, which is what we want, and that leaves us about 40 million left to spend on players. Lots of players left. 2 big players came in, 2 Brazilians in Guimarães and in Savinho. Could we go and get another Brazilian in perhaps Rodrigo of Real Madrid? He could be on the list of options. We have been looking at them and looking and narrowing it down to those 4 options that Cheeky decided. And there is a new addition to this Manchester City side, returning from loan, lining up with a squad now, a 77 rated Claudio Echeverri, the 18-year-old attacking midfielder, is in the Manchester City squad. He's joined up with the squad after 6 months loan at River Plate. We must decide now what we want to do with him, whether we loan him out, does he leave the club on loan, or does he stay around and stick with the club? At the moment, we've got a lot of midfielders, so maybe a short loan, 6 months somewhere in Europe to continue his development, just getting ready for the physicality of the Premier League and of European football, and then we could look to possibly having first-team football in Season 2 of this career mode. I'm not exactly sure yet. Maybe we could even get him in a game and see how he performs. Pep Guardiola will have a good look at Claudio Echeverri in training. Big breaking news for the January transfer window is from Sky Sports. Matheus Nunes is still unable to find his way into Pep's plans, and I think that is making the club and Matheus Nunes have a little bit of think about the future of the player. Signed from Wolves for 53 million 1 season ago. He's had a bit of a Calvin Phillips treatment. He's not played much football for us, and when he has, he hasn't been relatively impressive, has he, for Pep Guardiola's side. Pep's happy to keep him around in the squad, but I think Nunes himself is looking at this and thinking, maybe I need to move, get some game time, perhaps a loan, or even a permanent transfer in this January transfer window. So these are the 4 options I've picked out here on FC24 for our striker conundrum, with Haaland out injured and looking for a Julian Alvarez replacement who left this January. We said no first team signings in January because Alvarez, such a big player, has left because he was planned to leave and of course left City in the summer in real life. I've listed 4 players that could be options to replace Julian Alvarez. Starting off with Victor Gyökeres of Sporting Lisbon. He could come in and maybe play alongside Haaland, maybe. He's too good to be a backup striker to Erling Haaland. Not many want to be said to be a backup striker. Are willing to compete with him? I think they would have a good combination together. A real physical force up top, Victor Gyökeres. Quick as well, strong, very similar in a sense to Haaland, but probably a better on-the-ball player, maybe better in his link-up play. I mean, look at those stats. Physically wise, mentally wise, he's unbelievable. Technically, he's very gifted as well, and he's got press-proven play style. Now, he's going to cost 85 million release clause in his contract at Sporting. He's going to cost maybe between 60 and 75 million if we can negotiate a deal for him. He is on our list of options. You guys also have been voting. We'll show you that as well afterwards. We've got Brentford's Ivan Toney here. Will cost between 40 and 50 million out of contract at the end of the season. A reasonably good player as well. Also very physical. He counts as a homegrown player, which sways you towards him. He's relatively quick, or quick enough, but he's got good jumping, good strength. I think he's a good sort of impact sub off the bench. He's technically relatively quite gifted in that sense. Good ball control, decent dribbling. He's a very good finisher. He's a good header of the ball. And he's something a bit different for this Manchester City side could go and bring in Ivan Toney. And that does sway me towards him as well. So those two are two out-and-out strikers. I mean, Gyökeres can play off the left, but I think both are out-and-out strikers. That Gyökeres would play alongside Haaland, really needed to. Toney, I think, could be a backup, a more experienced player. And then we go on to 2 players who are not out-and-out strikers. Firstly is Rodrigo of Real Madrid, the Brazilian who is a very versatile player, can play pretty much all across the front line, can play in behind the striker as well. He is a right foot who prefers to play off the left, but can play at striker, can play at number 10. He's very quick. He's very good in the ball, very good dribbler. He's got good finishing as well, actually, 86 finishing. He's not far off Ivan Toney and Victor Gyökeres in that sense. Only 22 years of age. He would be a spectacular player, a really good player, and probably better than we could ever imagine to sign in Rodrigo. Only 22 years of age. He would be a sort of forward-thinking signing. Gyökeres is one for the next 5 years. Ivan Toney would be one for the next 3 years, maybe. Whereas Rodrigo would be for the long term, maybe the next 10 years at Manchester City. However, he's going to cost a lot of money. 90 million if we're lucky, and perhaps above 100 million, which we're not willing to spend on a player like that to try and replace Julian Alvarez. I think we're going for a cheaper option. Pep Guardiola's mentioned a cheaper option, which sort of slightly rules out Rodrigo, doesn't it? And then finally, the final option is Paulo Dybala. He has a 12 million euro release clause, which has now expired. Maybe Roma are willing to lose him for around 20 million. The 10 million release clause, the 12 million euro release clause is gone. Technically very gifted player. I mean, look at those technical stats. Fantastic footballer. A bit injury prone, but he's got decent finishing, really good ball control, good dribbling, free kick accuracy. A very sort of Pep Guardiola player, you'd say. He could play the false 9, he could play striker, wonderful volleys, wonderful curve, wonderful penalties. Look at all the play styles that he has compared to the other players. The play styles he has there, 7 play styles for Paulo Dybala. Technical, dead ball, finesse shot, flair, first touch, trivela, acrobatic. But that 20 million release clause doesn't exist in FC24. And he's going to cost between 65 and 80 million to bring in Paulo Dybala, which is ridiculous for a 29-year-old and not the sort of money we will be looking to spend. So we have to make a decision between these 4. I think Dybala's price puts me off him. Rodrigo's price is too much for Manchester City, and it goes down to Ivan Toney and Victor Gyökeres, who you guys voted for as well. Ivan Toney slightly more favourable amongst you guys. Gyökeres more long-term, Ivan Toney more of a backup, but Ivan Toney costing a lot less, with City not looking to spend big money. Well, I think this might be a transfer that rumbles on until the end of the January transfer window. There is Saudi interest in Manchester City's Matheus Nunes. The midfielder who is unhappy with his game time, wants more game time, looking for more game time, perhaps might get a big money move to Saudi Arabia where he'll get paid a lot of money, and of course he will be a first choice player in the midfield, whatever Saudi team he does join. We are looking to recoup something close to the 53 million City spent on him. I think around the £40 million mark, and I would accept a deal for Nunes. I can't see anyone paying that, but with Saudi interested, they just might. We have the intention of bringing in a young superstar for the future in every January transfer window, and we have picked out a young superstar in this man, Ruberto, the striker. He is maybe the next Sergio Aguero. City have had good relationships with River Plate. Alvarez, Echeverri has come in this time, and maybe Ruberto for next time as well. I've recently received a signed Sergio Aguero shirt behind me here, brand new. If you've noticed, the Nasri and Isco shirts have gone. They moved to this side and you can't see. A signed Sergio Aguero shirt, a City legend, and that shows that Argentinian South Americans are welcome and big at Manchester City. We're going to bring this young man as a striker. Maybe he could be our first team striker signing, but I don't think so. He's a youngster for the future. We'll look to loan him out this January if we do bring him in. Maybe leave him at River Plate. We'll have to see. But he is my choice for young striker to come in, and I think he can be a big part of the future of Manchester City. Well, news of a player who's just joined up with the squad, the first team squad, for a bit of training in January. It's Claudio Echeverri. Well, we are looking to try and get him continuing his development after moving from Argentina. He's a very, very young player. He's not even 19 yet. He's only 18 years of age and recently turned 18. We don't want to put too much pressure on a young player of his quality. But a move to another Premier League side who's looking for a creative midfielder, someone they can develop over 6 months and make an impact on their season, is Brighton. And Brighton have initiated talks with us, with Manchester City, over the loan of Claudio Echeverri. So we could see Echeverri move away from the club and move to Brighton, perhaps in the cards. A 6-month loan for him would get him ready for the physicality of the Premier League, perhaps. Ready for the physical battle, ready for the speed and everything that he's expecting in the Premier League, and develop, you know, adapt, and then hopefully I think we could see this man in the first team next season. Time for round 4 action in the Emirates FA Cup as Manchester City go away from home to Selhurst Park to take on Crystal Palace. This is how Palace will line up today. They are a very good side and they already give us a few problems in the Premier League. Chilwell, Goyi, Anderson, Chad Riyad and also Munoz is the back 5. Doucouré and Wharton partner in field 2. The front 3 of Eze, Kamada and Mateta. That is their strongest starting 11, barring second choice goalkeeper coming in, Sam Johnstone for Dean Henderson. It's a side for Crystal Palace today. In goal starts Stefan Ortega. It is our strange formation that's been working pretty well so far in recent games in this career mode. Walker, Stones, Captain Ake and Rico Lewis, the back 4. Kovacic, Nico, Riley, Bernardo Silva in the midfield 3. It's Oscar Bob, James McAtee and Jack Grealish, the front 3. On the bench, Joel Ndala, Savio. We also have Claudio Echeverri. We've just spoke about him. He's on the bench. He's in the City side today. Matheus Nunes, Manu Akanji, Christian McFarlane and also Scott Carson. There is Bernardo Silva in that Manchester City side. He's scored 3 in his last 3 games. Got a run in Rico Lewis. O'Reilly plays him. It's Rico Lewis for Manchester City. It's Rico Lewis for Manchester City. What a run by City's fullback. And what a goal that is. Brilliant from Nico O'Reilly and Rico Lewis. O'Reilly plays in Rico Lewis, who's making that darting run from fullback. He makes the running behind. Good run, good find. And there is Rico Lewis with a really good finish from fullback. Getting forward, getting into a good position. And finishing off that chance brilliantly to give City a 1-0 lead early on at Selhurst Park here. What a start, and a goal from fullback for Rico Lewis, who's played a lot of left back this season for us. Burst away from Eze. And he's still going here, Eze. O'Reilly with him. Eze! Catches it, gets underneath it, Eze. O'Reilly's a big man. And he got back there, the youngster, and got in the way. Bernardo Silva. On to Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob for City, saved by Johnston. Went with the right foot, should have gone with the left. Who's better at free kicks? Anyone else actually good at free kicks here? Bernardo Silva over this one. I think we'll swing this one in. To that far post, if we can do. McAtee down. Oscar Bob is waiting. 2-0 City. Brilliant football. And it's 2-0 Manchester City. And Oscar Bob was waiting for that one. Lifted in by Bernardo Silva. It's James McAtee again. Header across the box. Really good assist from McAtee. Good ball in from Bernardo. Good header by McAtee down. Oscar Bob, first time finish. On the volley from Oscar Bob. These younger players who've started the season a little bit slow, like the rest of the team to be honest with you, started getting it going now, haven't they? Brilliant finish from Oscar Bob. And it's 2-0 City, and it's Lewis and Bob. And 2 goals assisted by O'Reilly and McAtee. Both goals made in the youth system. Well done O'Reilly on Eze there. His move breaking down. Nico O'Reilly. Rico Lewis. Back to Kovacic. Poor by Rico Lewis. Counters on here. Doucouré. And that is half time anyway. 2-0 lead Palace. And we've dominated Crystal Palace so far. Grealish. Good play by City. To James McAtee. McAtee. Past the challenges, McAtee. McAtee still going here. Great running by McAtee. On to Rico Lewis. Lewis. Pulling back to Kovacic here. And tipped to the bar by Johnstone. If he aimed for the other corner, he scores there, Kovacic. In by Bob. Bernardo Silva with a header. And over the bar again by Johnstone. Corner ball again for City. Wide to Grealish. Good ball. Jack Grealish. Nice feet. Rico Lewis. Nico O'Reilly. From range O'Reilly. And he puts it past the post, Nico O'Reilly. Could have forced it forward there to Ndala. Bob, but he sided against it. Because now we do to Ndala. McFarlane through to Ndala. And it's Joel Ndala so quick. Ndala. Good save by Johnston and away. By Chilwell. Ndala. Plays the right pass to McFarlane here. Brilliant. McFarlane in. There is McAtee. He picked the wrong ball there, McFarlane. Could have took his time. That's Stones. Lewis dives in. Kamada. Good save by Ortega. Fumbled it, actually. We got away with that one. Back into McAtee. Kovacic, you can't find him. He's slim for a challenge here. Crystal Palace counter. Kamada. He's away from Stones and City in big trouble here. It's Kamada against Ortega. Ake getting back. Kamada! And he tried everything there. Saved by Ortega. And now it's debut time for Claudio Echeverri. Stefan El Shaarawy comes on for Adam Wharton. And Claudio Echeverri, number 43, comes on for Bernardo Silva. The young Argentinian comes on for his Manchester City debut. McAtee in there. Eze on the turn and caught by Stefan Ortega. Past Ake. Can't block the cross. Lewis can't win the header against Mateta. What a header by Jean-Philippe Mateta. 2-1. And Palace aren't done here. What a header by Jean-Philippe Mateta here against Rico Lewis. Heads it into the ground. It bounces up and into the top corner. Should Ortega do better? I'm not exactly sure. It's a good header. 2-1. McAtee. Back into Claudio Echeverri. A burst from the young Argentinian Echeverri. He's past Anderson. Echeverri on his debut. Echeverri! Saved by Johnston. Should have scored there. Echeverri trying to stop him, get it forward. Referee. 2 minutes added. It's over. City win by 2-1 against Crystal Palace. But it certainly wasn't an easy one, that one, for Manchester City. But we do get away with it. A disappointed Echeverri Eze and Crystal Palace side. City get the better of them. Well, every January transfer window, Manchester City target a young star. And we have agreed a deal to bring in another young star. River Plate again. 3 years in a row we've signed one of their young superstars. Manchester City have agreed a $5 million deal for who they call in the next Julian Alvarez. In Agustin Ruberto, perhaps the new Sergio Aguero as well, the young striker has agreed a deal to move to Manchester City. And we have agreed a loan move away from the club. Christian McFarlane, who joined the club this summer, will join West Bromwich Albion on a 6-month loan to the end of the season. And more breaking news around Matheus Nunes. I said this would rumble on until the end of the transfer window. Al Nassr have now made an official offer to Manchester City for Matheus Nunes. We're not exactly sure at the amount that has been offered for Matheus Nunes, but we do believe it is between the 35 and 45 million pound mark. So we're expecting perhaps 45 million for Matheus Nunes, which could be a good bit of money added to our transfer kitty as we look for a new striker. Well, here is Agustin Ruberto arriving at Manchester City for a medical and so on. City have picked him as their young signing to make in January. One player for the future of this club. Confirmation here of the move. £5.5 million deal agreed for him to Manchester City. Well, welcome to Manchester City. Agustin Ruberto, a new striker and another youngster, moves to Manchester City. A striker with a lot of potential, a lot of quality. And to bring him into Manchester City at such a young age as well, he's going to let him develop over the next 6 months. And then Pep Guardiola can have a real good look at him going into next season and decide what we want to do with him. I suspect a loan move away for him. But if he develops well, maybe he could be a striker being thrown straight into that Manchester City first team. But like I said, a very high potential player. Been compared to Alvarez, been compared to Sergio Aguero. And just another young Argentinian, another young South American on Manchester City's books here. And one that, like Claudio Echeverri, is a real exciting potential future star. Well, next was Ipswich Town at home in the Premier League. We decided to simulate this one, and we only came away with a 2-1 win, with John Stones on the score sheet getting the winner for Manchester City relatively late on in the 70th minute. City should have done better, but it doesn't matter. 3 points is what does matter, and we stay chasing down Liverpool atop the Premier League table. Well, big breaking news in terms of outgoings at Manchester City, because Man City, Matheus Nunes and also Al Nassr have found an agreement for a permanent transfer. He will be leaving Manchester City, a man who we had high hopes for when he joined. A bit of a panic buy in the end for Manchester City, Matheus Nunes. And City and the Saudi Arabian side have agreed a deal. Nunes wants the move, he wants game time, and also he will be paid big, big money. It becomes a move for a player like him who's not getting the Manchester City first team, as it's had to be done, doesn't it? It's a foregone conclusion he's not going to make it at Manchester City now. And he's not impressed in this career mode either. He's not played many games towards January. And we do have a rule, if players don't play enough games, they have to be sold. Nunes is one of those. And Matheus Nunes is off. He's moving to Saudi Arabia. And here he is with the number 13 kit. He will be playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia. Also with Aymeric Laporte and a few other players. Otavio, who played in Portugal. Thank you and goodbye, Nunes. Well, today is transfer deadline day, and if we're going to move for a striker, we have got to do it now. And that puts a lot of pressure on the team. Do we make a move for a striker? Do we make the wrong move? That is a difficult task that is in the hands of Manchester City's board, because we do need a striker to replace Alvarez. We do need someone as a focal point, and we do need to be looking at bringing someone in to be a backup to Erling Haaland, not only for the here and now with him out injured, but for the future of Manchester City. Well, final breaking news of today's episode. Manchester City close to a new forward signing on deadline day. Could it be Rodrigo, mentioned or shown in the picture here? What an incredible signing he would be. Could it be Victor Gyökeres? Could it be Paulo Dybala? Could it be the experienced and very, very good Premier League striker Ivan Toney? We are unsure. We don't know. But deadline day approaches us at the start of the next episode, and the striker signing will be confirmed. This is a big one, and it is important we get this one right, because a striker is needed to back up Erling Haaland, who is yet to be fit, back and ready. If you want to find out who our new striker is and know exactly the moment it gets released, you can join the We Are City Members Club for early access, or subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and get all the videos notified as soon as they come out, 5 days a week. We'll see you next time.